We've got up to 100 Australians a day dying with COVID, a low booster rate, inflation, indoor businesses in Sydney and Melbourne on their knees without your support. What are you going to do about these problems? Have you lost touch with ordinary Australians? And on that theme, off the top of your head, can you tell me the price of a loaf of bread, a litre of petrol and a rapid antigen test?
Well, let me talk to you about a couple of things on that point. First of all, during the pandemic, you can't pay for everything because it all has to be paid for. Over the course of this pandemic, we have provided over $100 billion in economic support. JobKeeper being the most significant, and that has saved businesses across this country. And we're doing that at a time, and the COVID disaster payments as well, when we had shut businesses down. Not the virus, the government took decisions to shut businesses down. And of course, in those circumstances. But one of the things we have to be very mindful of, Andrew, is that this thing isn't over yet. It's not over. The next variant could have any number of permutations to it. And so when we decided to do JobKeeper, we said it's going to start and it's going to finish. And people asked the Treasurer and I the same question that you're asking me now. Why are you pulling JobKeeper away? Because that's what you do when you're responsible and running a government. You can't say yes to everybody all the time. And you have to do things which ensure that you've got your government and your bank balance as a government able to deal with the next challenge. I mean, our opponents wanted to keep it going. They would have spent $11 billion a month. Keep going. They would have spent $6 billion paying people to have a vaccine they'd already had. And $13 to $18 billion on tests, when free tests were already available to those who needed them and those who are on concession cards who needed them and have equitable access to them. So these are hard choices, Andrew. They're very hard choices, and you make them every day in a pandemic. Now, I'm not going to pretend to you that I go out each day and I buy a loaf of bread and I buy a litre of milk. I'm not going to pretend to you that I do that. And I'll leave those sort of things to you, mate. And you can run it. But the point is, I do my job every day to ensure that those things are as affordable as they possibly can be for Australians every single day. As I said, our inflationary pressures in this country are lower than what we're seeing in other countries. And it's important that we ensure that people are able and have the resilience to deal with those economic pressures that are coming, just like my answer earlier. You know, it's going to be tough in the months, years ahead. There is going to be strong economic challenges, and you've got to make decisions in real time and ensure that you've got the capacity to deal with the challenges that are yet to come. And that's what people will get from me. That's what responsibility looks like. Not saying yes to everybody and telling them everything they want to hear, saying one thing to them in one part of the country and another thing to them in another part of the country. You don't get that from me. I've got it from both of my previous opponents politically. And I think Australians make a judgment about that, about whether they actually have the responsibility and the discipline to carry what is a very weighty office.